Oh, this is fun.
Turn this way so the sun's hitting it. You'll be able to read it better if you want to put it in. Actually, will you click more of the... Are you recording or just taking a picture?
It's live.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to still put it, it makes more sense if you can see the event going on behind me. So we'll do this like facing into the sun.
Here we got gun-related deaths per 100,000 people. And guns per 100 people. United States, 1 gun per person. 45,222 gun deaths in 2020.
I wanted it to be to scale. It didn't also our suicide, but it's interesting like how people approach that statistic. It's like the ones that are suicides, they have to be approached very differently, but it's not like that is not also a problem. Those are deaths that are attributable to the prevalence of guns as well. And the countries that have fewer guns, they not only have fewer gun suicides, obviously, but they also have fewer suicides overall. It's not like everyone who wants to kill himself and can't get a gun, that they'll go for one of the other methods. I mean, people either chicken out because it's too painful to do one of the other methods, or it doesn't work. And the ubiquitousness of having guns that let you just sort of end it quickly, that really, according to the best data from the people who have studied this, that really does lead to an actual increase in suicides. So yes, it does have to be combated a different way from gun homicides. I mean, everything that would work for fighting gun homicides would not work for fighting gun suicides and vice versa, but I mean, it's weird that people bring it up almost as if that somehow doesn't count, but I think it definitely does count. You know, the gun deaths that are, the suicides that are attributable to the availability of guns, that still has to be counted as well.
What about the states that have the highest per capita guns versus states that have the lowest? For instance, Wyoming and Maine have the highest per capita gun, but they have like 0 homicides. Versus Illinois, for instance, which has a lower capita gun rate, but they lead the nation in homicides.
I think it depends on it's hard to do comparisons, and you can just drive from one jurisdiction to another.
Isn't that what you're doing with the United States versus the other countries?
I mean, it's also I think no, because you can't go between different countries, and you can't transfer between different countries and bring a gun as easily as you can with the different states in the U.S. But like if you live in France and you are not eligible to buy a gun, you can't just go to Spain or go to Belgium because they have similarly strict gun laws. But I mean, people do the same thing with like, oh, Chicago has such strict gun laws. Yeah, but you can drive out of Chicago and drive into Chicago. The point of the gun laws in Chicago is mostly, I think, so that because they have a high crime rate, if you catch somebody committing a crime with a gun in Chicago, you can add some extra years. But it should not be considered a test case of gun control because you can drive up to Chicago, get a gun, and drive back in.
What about the entire state of California? It's a little bit bigger, a little harder to do. Compare the state of California with the state of Florida or Texas.
If you could leave and come back. And then the other thing is...
No, but again, we're talking a state like California. It's a giant state, horrible very restrictive gun policies, but they have way more homicides than Texas or Florida does.
I mean, I think the problem with apples to apples comparisons is that places that have more guns per capita, they also might be more sort of rural, don't tread on me, spread out population.
Right, but how come every single state...
to lead to homicides in the first place? So I don't think you can do an apples to apples like that.
Here's the perfect apples and apples. Every single state in this country that has restrictive gun laws that also has the highest homicide rates versus every single state that has the least gun laws have the lowest homicide rate. Why do you think that is?
I think you can't do causation like that because you can...
That's a fact. I mean, it's not a causational...
because of an increase in crime there.
If it is a statistical fact for the last 40 years, I think you can go ahead and use causation for that.
Well, I say, again, not if you can just leave and come back. Like in Washington...
It's not about leaving and coming back. It's about you have states that have very open gun laws, constitutional carry states, we'll just include that, versus states that have very restrictive gun laws. All of the high homicide rates are in very restricted states. Why is that?
I understand, but I'm saying even in a state with restrictive gun laws, you can leave and get a gun and drive back. And
but why are people dying in those states where there's no guns?
There aren't
Less guns, less freedom for guns. Why are people dying there?
Well, that's what I just said. You can leave and buy a gun and come back, and that's the problem. That's why you can't attribute the different...
But why are people dying in those states and not the states that everybody has a gun freely? That's my question. Why are people dying in Chicago left and right, but people aren't dying anywhere else that have nice gun laws that you can just go get a gun?
That's what I'm saying. As long as you can leave and get a gun, then...
Can you answer the question why people are dying in restrictive states? Why?
Because you can leave and get a gun and come back. That's what I'm saying.
So what does that have to do with why people are dying? Have you ever seen a gun shoot somebody by itself? Have you ever like left a gun? If I took a gun and put it on the ground here, would it shoot you? Have you ever seen that happen?
I don't think that's a valid argument for anything.
So guns don't kill people, right?
We are talking about the people who buy the guns to kill people.
Correct.
The gun definitely helps.
So people kill people, guns don't kill people. So since people are killing people, how come...
Kill fewer people.
Okay. You know, London like tried making it so that you couldn't buy a knife because people were getting stabbed so much, right?
Most of us probably think this is going better for us than the other person thinks so. So where are you posting it?
Where am I posting this?
Yeah.
The Common Sense Conservative.
Common sense. Okay, I'll turn it over that.
So, but that's my question. If people want to kill people, they're going to kill people. Just because a tool makes it easier, a hammer will kill you just as easy as a gun will. A bow and arrow will kill you just as easy as a gun will. A knife will kill you just as easy as a gun will. A pencil will kill you just as easy as a gun will. Why are you telling people that they shouldn't have the ability to defend themselves?
They don't just have fewer gun shootings, they have fewer murders. The point is that...
Fewer what?
You want to take a picture or you just want to talk?
I'm not
Okay.
They have fewer what?
The point is that the countries that have more restrictive gun laws, it's not just that they have fewer gun killings, they have fewer homicides overall and fewer suicides.
Not England.
You take away the easiest method, in general. I mean, look at where we are. This is real data.
Yeah, but your gun deaths are including 30,000 suicides and accidentals. Your gun deaths, there's not 45,000 homicides in this country by gun. You're including suicides, you're including accidentals. It's about 2/3 suicides.
Just so you know. The suicide rate is higher than gun violence.
Are you talking about gun suicide?
No, I'm talking about all suicide in general. Suicide has gone up while gun violence has gone down.
Even the Obama administration did a study saying, oops, our whole gun control idea was wrong. We found out that millions of people save lives every single year for having a gun versus the 45... Huh?
After Sandy Hook, Obama proposed a law to have a background check.
Yes, and his own researchers, everybody has to do a background check to buy a gun.
In federal regulations only require a background check if you buy a gun from a federally regulated gun seller.
Right.
You can buy a gun from a private seller in a lot of states without a background check. In Washington,
And that's how it should be.
in Washington, you have to undergo a background check to buy a gun from a private seller, but you can always drive to another state where if you're a felon and can't buy a gun from a private seller in Washington, you can drive to another state and buy a gun without a background check.
But it's already...
No requirement to
Right.
get a background check to buy a gun as of now.
And it's already illegal for a felon to own a gun. So how are you going to make a law and expect no matter what everybody's going to follow it? If you're going to take guns away from the people who actually are going to sit there and go, okay, I'll turn in my guns, what about everybody who won't? What are you going to do about that?
We don't expect these other countries that have gun laws, they don't expect everybody to comply. They have gun crime, but it's down here instead of all the way up there. There's a discernible
First
difference
of all,
between countries that
Australia,
have
you can even own a gun in Australia. So there's that. That is irrelevant. That doesn't make sense. Australia does not have guns. So the people in Australia who have guns are felons. So it's the felons who crafted the crime, not the gun. That's like saying
I
that
understand
I'm
that,
bad
but you still
because
end up
the
with,
court.
I mean, I don't remember where Australia is on here again.
Right there.
Okay,
It's
so
the highest one on the list, and yet
no,
That's
Australia,
wait,
you
way the
cannot
hell
own a
up there.
gun.
It is Australia's goddamn not the highest one on the list. Look over that corner. That's where we are. And we're over there.
Where are you getting your information from?
This was the card that was from the CDC and it was published on Vox.com about by country gun death rates. And then
No, he's 100% correct that there's 45,000 gun deaths in America a year. 2/3 of them are suicides. About a quarter of them are accidental. Like you're trying to make the narrative that we have all these guns, therefore people are getting murdered, but that's an outright lie. There's no truth behind that at all. And the only places where people are getting murdered are places like Chicago, Atlanta, Portland, Oregon,
And they're not
New York,
guns legally.
where you can already have the most stringent gun control laws. The only reason, no, I've asked you this question, but I'll answer it for you. The reason that people are getting killed in gun-free zones is because nobody can defend themselves legally. That is why you have people dying in the gun-free zones and not in places like Wyoming, Florida, Maine, where there's way more guns than there are people. That is why. Because if people are afraid, if you're afraid that I have a gun, you're not gonna me because you're afraid I have a gun. Same thing in Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, because nobody's gonna mess with somebody that they're afraid is gonna shoot back. In places like Chicago, super easy to mess with people because they can't shoot back.
Amen.
More guns, it is proven. It is proven everywhere in this world, the more guns you have, the safer your society is. That's a fact. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I'm done. Thank you, Pumpkin. Bye, Felicia. Have a nice day.